What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a weekly reset preview for the week starting the 6th of May, and of course, this week will be an interesting one as we do have the launch of a new event in Destiny 2 in the form of Rite of the Nine, also a few other bits of content that'll be dropping as part of this May update. So we'll talk about some of that stuff today, but also we get the reveal for the Edge of Fate expansion, which will be dropping this summer, so finally an opportunity to actually see what some of the content will be. Bungie also say they'll talk about the upcoming year of Destiny content, so we're going to get a much better idea about both of the expansions, I think, and also some of the seasonal contents and additional updates through the year. So very much looking forward to that, but of course, just as important this week will be the additional gameplay components. So we'll break down everything we can in the reset video, guys. As always, if you enjoy this one, get subscribed to the channel and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content, but otherwise, let's get into it. And so first up, especially given that we've now had the hidden puzzle 4-episode Heresy, as well as the core finale, maybe we'll get an epilogue at some point, but otherwise Heresy is essentially wrapped up entirely at this point. This week though, of course, Rite of the Nine launches, and Bungie have said that one dungeon will be featured each week with updated weapons and perk pools. That does include adept weapons, and then there is of course the Explorer mode, the standard difficulty of the dungeons, and Ultimatum mode, which is similar to Contest, and that's where the adept weapons will drop. Otherwise, we know that there'll be some additional rewards, things like emblems, extra cosmetic drops, challenges, and a title associated with this, and we'll find out more with the reveal stream, as well as info about Edge of Fate, which will be at 9 AM Pacific on the 6th of May. So we're going to go from getting an expansion preview straight in to the Rite of the Nine stuff and the new content for the week. Otherwise, we don't know a whole bunch about Rite of the Nine outside of what we've outlined here. That is kind of the core of it, but I'm sure there'll be a couple of additional things that we'll learn when Bungie do that live stream, so I will keep you posted. Something separate from the dungeon event and the official reveal though, Bungie did manage to leak a bit more information regarding the Year of Prophecy and the two expansions that we'll get. So this once again comes from a collector's edition that was listed on the Bungie store. It comes with a cool statue and some other items. Of course, we'll have an official reveal for that, but the indications from the item delivery dates suggest that Edge of Fate will indeed drop on the 15th of July. So this has been the speculated date for a while, given that it was listed as the end date for the episode in the season pass. That's now looking a lot more concrete, so we're anticipating mid-July for that. Otherwise, the collector's edition also indicates that the second expansion for the year will be titled Renegades, so pretty interesting. That's all we really get from it overall. There's some other light bits of information regarding the destination that we'll head to for the first expansion, which is Kepler, and this was also teased in some of Bungie's trailers and stuff. Most importantly though, that indication of the date for Edge of Fate. But of course, in terms of absolute confirmation, we will get that during Bungie's live reveal, so I'll keep you posted. Something else that we'll get this week though, the Nightfall, as far as we know, should be Warden of Nothing, unless Bungie switches up that rotation, but Bungie did say they're adding a new Nightfall weapon, which is Cruel Mercy, and that's an arc heavy burst pulse rifle. So it's going to be an Omolon variant. You can see some of the perks for it on screen. This will indeed be a featured Nightfall weapon for the week, but Bungie said the Lotus Eater will be the core Nightfall weapon. However, every time we get one dropped, we'll get a Cruel Mercy Adept dropped as well. So not sure if that applies only to Grandmasters with them being Adept drops, but if you've been looking to go after Lotus Eater, it'll also be a good week for that, as well as the new weapon, and of course we'll be able to check that out soon. So that's the Nightfall part. Otherwise, there are still a couple of weeks of seasonal challenges. So firstly, this week we have Dread Reckoning to defeat Dread combatants anywhere in the system, and we get bonus progress for Heresy activities. There's also By Heart, and in the Pale Heart we need to complete patrols, public events, and loot lost sectors. Otherwise, we have Popping Off to break combatant shield with matching damage in Vanguard and Gambit playlists. Ethereal Might to defeat targets with Arc, Strand, or Void subclasses equipped in Gambit, and there's bonus progress for ability final blows and defeating Guardians, and then finally, Darkest Nightfall to complete any Nightfall on advanced difficulty or higher, and that one does have an additional Nightfall weapon dropped. So on top of the Rite of the Nine stuff, if you're after Nightfall things, this is going to be a very good week to jump in. Otherwise, we will still get a refresh on all of the challenges associated with the seasonal content, and, of course, for the Pale Heart, where we'll get a new co-op mission, plus we still get pinnacle drops from Salvation's Edge, as well as the Excision mission, so keep those in mind. In terms of trials this week, I don't believe we're going to see trials on Friday. They did say that it will return next week after the 13th of May, as we will be getting Heavy Metal on Friday instead, so that's another date this week where we'll get some new content, and Heavy Metal is the sort of vehicle game mode that'll be Drake tanks versus Briggs, kind of working a bit like Supremacy, and on top of that, there'll be a reward track associated with it and a kind of event card type thing with some objectives and additional loot. So something else to look out for a little bit later on in the week right there. Very curious to see it. Otherwise though, for featured raids in the endgame tab right here, or the Legends tab, sorry, we've got Kingsfall featured this week initially, where we can get the Touch of Malice. But on top of that, over on the moon, we'll also get Garden of Salvation. So a couple of additional endgame activities to chase down right there if you need any of the rewards, and those rewards will be totally farmable while they're featured. For the exotic mission though this week in the Legends tab, we'll get Starcrust, which of course can drop Wishkeeper and all of its upgrades. So if you still need to work on collecting that one, it'll be a good week to dive in. But over to Eternity, and Dares of Eternity right here, on top of the core loot drops this week we'll get Rotation 3 drops, which includes the Scatterhorn and Lightkin armor sets, as well as a bunch of weapons from Season of the Splicer and Forsaken as additional random drops. Final couple of things right here though, if you're after Lost Sectors this week, for Tuesday we'll get Gilded Precept on Neomuna, then we'll move over to Thrilladrome on Wednesday, the Broken Deep for Thursday, and Blooming Deep on Friday. Then over the weekend we'll have Bunker E15 featured initially, that's followed by Perdition, and then Vel's Labyrinth on the following Monday, ahead of the weekly reset. And of course the Lost Sectors can drop world weapons from the pool, as well as chances at exotic engrams on solo completions. Finally though, in the Dreaming City, the Ascendant Challenge this week will be Aura Borea, which can be accessed via Aphelion's Rest in the Strand, so pretty easy to get to, but if you're still using those Ascendant Challenges for anything, we'll run some gameplay at the end of the video. For today though guys, that is what we have to round up, so as always I hope the video has been helpful, and if it has, get subscribed to the channel, as around 50% of the viewers still haven't done that. It'll make a massive difference to me right here, and of course I can keep you guys up to date, especially with the reveal dropping this week and the new content in the game, so keep it locked and loaded and hit the notification bell below as well. Otherwise, if you've enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out on the channel. Let us know if you'll be diving in this week, and otherwise, I hope you guys have an awesome day.